Imagine someone who was buried 4 days ago, whose body is now decomposing, whose tomb is sealed with a stone, and about whom everyone has said, "It's too late, nothing can be done." And then a voice calls out, a name is spoken, and death retreats. This story today is not just a miracle. It's the story of the God who says, "I am the resurrection and the life." Today we will learn who that man was, why this miracle became even greater after 4 days, what Jesus said that even death couldn't withstand, and how this story connects to your life today. Watch the video until the end, because there's a truth at the end that will fill you with hope. This story begins in a small village called Bethany. Located near Jerusalem, this village was quiet and simple, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. Martha, Mary, and their brother Lazarus lived there. They weren't a wealthy family, nor were they royalty or religious leaders. But this family had something special. Jesus loved them very much. When Jesus was tired, when he wanted to get away from the crowds of the city, he would come to this house. Mary would sit at his feet and listen. Martha would be busy serving, and Lazarus was Jesus' dear friend. Everything was going well. But then one day Lazarus fell ill. First a slight fever, then weakness, and then his condition became serious. Worry spread through the house. Fear was in Mary's eyes and anxiety on Martha's face. They did what every believer does. The message was very short: "Lord, the one you love is sick." No long speeches, no complaints, just faith. They were completely certain Jesus would come, lay his hands on Lazarus, and he would be healed. But here the story takes a turn. When Jesus received this news, everyone was astonished by what he said. Jesus said, "This illness will not end in death, it is for God's glory." And after this, Jesus did not go immediately. Yes, he decided to stay 2 more days. Imagine, his friend is sick, the message has arrived, yet Jesus stayed. Why? Meanwhile, in Bethany, the situation was worsening. Hope began to fade. Martha looked out at every sound. Perhaps Jesus had arrived. Mary prayed constantly, "Lord, come quickly," but time passed and Jesus did not come. Lazarus's breathing became shallow, and one day Lazarus died. Mourning filled the house. Cries of grief were heard and neighbors gathered. That same evening, Lazarus was wrapped in cloth, anointed with fragrant oils, and placed in the tomb. A large stone was rolled into place and the tomb was sealed. Hope was also buried in the tomb. 4 days is a very long time. According to Jewish tradition, people believe that the soul remains near the body for 3 days. But on the 4th day, the body begins to decompose and the soul departs completely. That's why 4 days meant that everything was over. No miracle, no hope, no prayer. And, precisely at this time, 4 days later, Jesus finally heads towards Bethany. But by then, the whole village had accepted Lazarus's death. When Jesus approached the village, Martha received the news. "The Lord is coming." Martha ran out, tears in her eyes, pain in her heart, and she said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." This was not a complaint, it was the cry of a broken heart. Jesus looked into Martha's eyes and said, "Your brother will rise again." Martha gave the conventional religious answer, "Yes, Lord, in the resurrection on the last day." But then Jesus spoke the words that still resonate through history, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live." This wasn't just for Lazarus. It was for every person who has lost hope today.